The Athene Real Talk Podcast explores controversial ideas to stimulate debate and active thinking. These ideas do not always reflect Athene's personal views. Welcome to the Athene Real Talk Podcast.
He has been called the best gamer in the world, hands down.
World-famous gamer and philanthropist Athene.
Gaming for Good, it's called, has raised more than $20 million.
Using his notoriety to raise money for charity.
On activism, science, culture, and self-development.
Proud to have him in the studio today. I would not want to take you on in a video game.
This is another thing that I don't understand about society. There's people that go work 9 to 5. They get paid, let's say, $10 an hour, $80 a day. Take away the bills and everything, how much do you save up? $30? Let's say $30 a day. Let's say you can save $1,000 a month on the off chance that, there is no bigger bills. And basically, what you do is you trade in your life for a certain amount of money. Okay, you need money to survive. Until there, I can relate to it until there. You trade in some of your life doing a job most people don't even like to get a certain amount of pile of cash. Now, what I don't understand, right? You go to a party and you want to drink a cocktail. $10? How much is a cocktail nowadays? People do not connect. I worked 1 hour for that money. And that one little cocktail I'm buying right now, or whatever, I actually got to work 1 hour for that. Or buying a fancy car that costs whatever, $20,000, $10,000, while you could just, buy a simple second-hand one. No, $20K. That's really like, I got to work 2,000 hours for that money. 2,000. People do not convert in their head the time they have to put and sacrifice when they spend the money. It's almost disconnected. I don't fucking understand how that works. And what the hell is wrong with that? Only because you don't understand. What? I'm not judging people doing that. What I'm just saying is I don't understand. Like, if I was a person that would stand in front of a car dealer, I would say, do I want a holiday of 2 years where I don't have to work at all? Or do I want to keep working and buy this car? Do I maybe want to, instead of working 5 days a week, I work 3 days a week for the next 5 years? Or do I drive this fancy car nobody gives a shit about? I mean, that's what I mean. You can reduce stress of your life. You can be more financially stable. You can be more safe. If you measure the time you put in and sacrifice for money, then why don't you make the connection how much you have to work for the money you spend? So many people spend so impulsively, not realizing they're actually entrapping themselves, buying stuff they don't really need, and that is not worth the time and the stress you experience putting it to earn it. Doesn't this make a lot of fucking sense? I mean, if people would just be more aware, and instead of labels of how much something costs, how many hours you have to work. You go to the car and says, 2,000 hours, sir. You're gonna work 2,000 hours and you can have this car. It's like, I would say what? Or make it days. 1 year, sir. You gotta work 1 year and then you get this car. 1 year. I would say, no, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't need it. But I wonder when I say these things, is it something like, hey, this is interesting, or is it like, whatever, man? I mean, if you're just a little bit more aware when you go to the store and you buy stuff a bit more cheap and stuff, wouldn't you guys like to just work 3 days a week? Wouldn't that make your life a lot easier? 3 days a week. Not 5, 3. I mean, people can easily do that. It's easy. You're just more alive, right? If life is about having fun. If life is about having fun, then why stress yourself out to get money, to buy shit you don't need, to impress people that don't care? While if you just take a little bit of time, 5 minutes or even 10 seconds to just imagine, how long do I have to work to buy this? Wouldn't that just change your life from one moment to the other? Because you would spend a lot less money. Not only that, you would spend a lot less money, you would have to work less. When you work less, you might have more time to, learn other skills or maybe even find a better job. Hydro Squad, because with a better car, you can have a good girl easier. Good girl is good moments. Man, every single girl, right, that I know says they don't give a shit about your car. First of all. Secondly, the girls that do care about your car are not the kind of girls you want to have around. Thirdly, if you translate the money you would buy a car, right, to go and visit prostitutes, I think you still would get a better deal. Girls don't like money. No, girls do like money. But it's not so much money they like. Girls like power. Because power gives them safety. But the thing is, though, you don't need to be rich to have a charismatic presence. You don't need that at all. You can be a normal guy that really knows what he stands for and really knows what he wants and has a strong backbone And that reflects itself in the relationship and makes it so you have a much easier time getting a girlfriend. If you're afraid to go walk to a girl and talk to her, then automatically you will have a harder time getting a girlfriend, obviously, right? But if you grow yourself a backbone and you go like, yeah, I'm going to do some cold approaches, even if I know I'm scared and I feel anxiety, I will still try. And if I go on my face and the girl rejects me, fine, I'll go to another one. What is it there to lose? It's not like back in the days in tribal lands when you get rejected that you might, never find a wife again. Now, the cities are filled with girls. You go to one girl, it doesn't work. You go to another girl, you go to another girl. You just rinse and repeat. And the numbers, one moment you'll talk to a girl and you'll hook up with her. That's how it works. Play the numbers. Even if you suck at it, just play the numbers. And man, I can tell you, I know quite a bit about it because Ian, Dean, and Reese were very much into pickup and doing cold approaches because they were afraid they had your anxiety too. They really were afraid going and talking to girls. And they just went on the street and tried it and tried it and tried it. And then, it becomes more and more easy. So instead of going and buying a car, $20,000, take some of the time free, go on the street and talk to some chicks. Who here, by the way, plays World of Warcraft to run away from their problems? I wonder if you play to run away from your problems, right? How long do you think you can keep that up? I mean, if you just think about it, without judging, no name calling, nothing, just how long do you think you can keep it up? Until you die? Are you guys happy doing that? Running away from your problems? Let me ask you a question. People that run away from their problems, right? And say, no, I'm not happy doing that. I'm not happy running away from my problems. What's the reason why you don't tackle your problems? Why don't you do it one by one? Make a list of all your problems, everything you gotta sort out, take the ones that you can fix quick, and then go to the next one. Why don't you do that? That's my question. Okay, I see some people say like fear, anxiety. Okay, you experience anxiety, fear, or other reasons. Do you know, everybody has their own reasons. But what I've learned, right? For myself. I'm going to give an example from my own life. I have sometimes slightly hypochondriac kind of response whenever I have a little bit of a problem with my body. When I feel a little bit problems with my ear, I think, I have a brain tumor. If I have a problem with my stomach, I think I'm going to die. Even though it's not rational. I'm just saying like emotional. That's how it feels. Do you know how I fix it? The way I fix it is, come at me. Okay, I die. I accept it. I go towards it. Like, okay, I'm gonna die then. Because the fear itself, right, only has control to the extent that you run away from it. But if you embrace it and you go towards it, and you say like, okay, consume me, you start experiencing that it actually isn't that bad after all. It's being scared of it and running away from it that is consuming your life. It is what controls you. But if you go head on against it, let's say it's anxiety, right? You go like, okay, you go towards the anxiety or fear. You go straight up to fear. You try to experience that as bad as you can. Okay, I feel fear. I'm going to not run away from it. Like, let's try and experience it as hard as I can. And then suddenly it's like, it ain't that bad after all. I mean, it's almost like you realize that running away from it is the source of why it's so much bigger than it is. So for people saying like, yeah, I'm running away from my problems, right? Because I have fear, I have anxiety. Like, let's say you go to work out, right? And you go like, I'm lazy, I'm whatever. Like, go sit down and say, okay, I'm going to try and experience the fear, the anxiety as much as I can. Like anything that stops me from wanting to do it, I will try to experience it as bad as I can. Really focus. You're just sitting there and going like, yeah, it's when you just focus on the emotion rather than having thoughts, escalating it or bouncing back and forward, the emotion just dissolves. The emotion doesn't have control over you anymore. I'm really telling you, it's a really nice way of try it out. It really works quite nice. If you have social anxiety on the street to talk to a girl, right? Focus on the social anxiety and try to make it as bad as you can. And then you will realize that it fades away. I'm going to tell you guys something else that has helped me quite a lot. It's a touching story. I think the person I love the most is my mother. And when I grew up for a very long goddamn time, one of my biggest fears was the idea that my mother would pass away. Maybe not now, but one day. And it was a huge fear of me. It was really something that kept me awake. It was something that I was like, I don't want to lose the person I love the most in the world. The thing is that what I have been doing when I was, thinking about these things, I took the perspective of me that would lose his mother. I took that perspective and I was like, okay, imagine now my mother passes away. What do I feel? And the things that I experienced, like I would want to talk to her and tell her how much I love her, how much she meant for me. There's all these emotions that come up. And not only that, also like imagining, what she would want. And the thing is, a lot of people, when someone passes away, they suddenly start realizing what they still had to do, or they feel guilty or whatever. But the thing is, by putting yourself in a position where you reflect on these things, you can basically, for a big part, already mourn before the act happens. And it's so much easier when the person is still alive. And the reason why I'm saying this is because taking perspective and projecting yourself in a situation allows you to be so much more emotionally stable. Because any fear and anything that you're afraid of, you can basically already process before they happen. And I'm giving my mother as a good example because it's something that I've, what I realized also with going through the process. Not are you also better equipped too, because not only are you less overwhelmed by emotions and can go about the process more with a clear head, you start realizing as well that, well, at least for myself, what I realized is that the reason why I would be sad is not even for my mother. I would be sad for myself because my mother doesn't exist anymore. If I would actually truly care for my mother, then I would be there for her while she's alive. And as crazy as it may sound, is even though this was all just a thought experiment in order to process my emotions, it also leads to action and leads to understanding that if I truly care for my mother, not only would I show it while she's still alive, but also if she does end up passing away, what she would want me is to be happy. And that's the thing, like, the reason why I'm giving this example is to say that sometimes these emotions that you experience, they're not the bad guys. The fear of losing my mother was not a bad thing. It's running away from it and not knowing how to go about it and process it that is the issue. This is a really good example. I will start on how to make money. I will start with a story. There was a university that gave a task to their students to make as much money as possible, and they could start with $5. And there was people, trying to do all kinds of stuff, investing $5, this and that. Do you know who won the contest? Was people that just made a little stand in front of the university selling, I think, some drinks or whatever. And they didn't care about the $5. And the reason why I'm saying this story is because if you limit the way you make money and look within the box of what you think is right in front of you, you miss out the opportunities that are just all around you. Making money is not so much about working with what you have right now, but rather seeing the opportunities that arise where there is a demand. And that's the thing, like, a lot of people, when they come to me and say, Athene, how do you make money? How do you make money? How would I make money? How did I make money? The first time I made money was with Ultima Online, really back in the days. It was the first MMO. I ran my own gang and I sold gold in the game for real life money. Back then was with Western Union. I made a lot of money with that. Then after that, I made money with poker. Made a lot of money, more than $300,000. I started with $5, funnily enough, but hey. But I know that, becoming good poker player and stuff, times have changed. It's a lot harder nowadays and such. So nowadays, making money with poker, I wouldn't really advise it. And after that, a lot of money was made with crypto. Investing in crypto, buying when it was booming. Now it's up and down, up and down. And basically, this is the way I made money. I also made a lot of money live streaming, getting donations. So of course, this is the way that I know what worked for me. But what I want to say is every time when I did stuff, it's new. It's new stuff. Even same with streaming and making money from donations. I had to reinvent myself every time. It was not just, you stream, you ask for money. No, we had to have a show. We figured out the music player. Now, you might wonder and say how do I make money? Back in the days, I gave a few tips. One tip was, it was basically a service where you had to check sites and rate them. Maybe someone in the chat can tell me. And I know some people even now, up till this day, are making a living out of it and making quite some money. It was LeapForce. Basically with LeapForce you can check other sites, and there's also a lot of way of automating it. Well, not fully automating it, but automating it to a certain extent and make it quite easy. There are some jobs out there. Another thing you can do is learn a skill, learning how to code. It's not so hard. Honestly, if I'm really fucking honest, what I would do, right, if I was you and I would really want to make a lot of money, I would come over here, learn some nice skills, get a nice track, and then go and get a job just like that. That's what I would do if I was you, because you don't have to pay for university, you get to immediately learn skills, free food, free shelter. Man, it's a steal. And then you can just go bay life it up afterwards, because there's a lot of people here that even got job offers, including from Google, just so you guys know. Because if you have a track record, that is so much more attractive than a diploma. But what if I'm already working as a programmer? Well, if you're already working as a programmer, make your own app. Do something that is very creative. Find an idea that tackles into it. Like there's a guy that came over here, right? And he made a lot of money just making apps that tackled a certain demand. Simple apps. Sometimes a timer, an alarm, with here and there some ads here and there, or monetization. If you're a programmer, you're already halfway there. You just gotta find a nice idea, put some time in it. But yeah, learning how to code is a very powerful skill to have. And you might say like, yeah, but I'm not good at math or whatever. You can learn everything. The thing is, when a lot of people ask, Athene, how do I become financially independent? That's not the question you're asking. You're asking, Athene, how can I get free money? Because when it's about putting the work and the effort, everybody can make some money. The question is not like, Athene, how do I make money? It's like, Athene, how do I make money doing nothing? And in order for that, you've got to already have a big load of cash and live from the interest. Even being a streamer and asking for donations requires quite some effort. But a lot of people just want to get free money. How do I win the lottery? MC Daddy, I'm going to talk about that. This is something that is very interesting, and it's a hard thing for people to identify with. But basically, unless you can play lotto rigged, you can never win. And that is something people might say like, but a thing that doesn't make any sense. If I play lottery and I win, then I won, right? The thing is that the way it works is the prize pool of the lottery is around 60% of all the money used to buy tickets. That means every time you spend $1, you literally burn 40 cents. And you might wonder and say like, yeah, but I can get lucky, right? The thing is, you're better off just putting that money in a box, and then you've actually, almost doubled your lottery investment by saving up to 40% that literally gets ripped off from you by playing the lottery. But since the brain is binary, we see other people win the lottery and we think like, whoa, we're lucky. And if this helps a bit better, right, in wrapping your head around why you can never win playing the lottery. If, hypothesis, right, every single reality exists simultaneously, then basically there is a billion realities. When you play the lottery, there's a billion realities where you play the lottery, and only 1 in a million of all these realities will win the lottery. And all the other realities, 999,999, you don't win the lottery. So even if you win in this reality, overall, in all the other realities, you lose. And you might wonder like, but Athene, I only live in this reality. What you're talking about, this is fucking insanity. You're crazy, you're losing it. The thing is that the reason why I'm giving this explanation is because it can make you more easily see it the way I see it. When I do something, right, I don't care about the outcome. I care about being result oriented, but not outcome dependent. And the best way I can explain it is with poker. When I play poker, when I go all in with aces, pocket aces, right? It's the best hand to have. You have the highest odds to win. If I go all in pre-flop, in non-tournament play, just, 9 max or whatever, 9 players on the table, I know I did play the hand properly, and it doesn't matter whether I lose or win. And that's the thing, playing poker makes you understand that it's not about whether you win the hand or not, it's about how well you played your hand. It's about being ahead when you played your hand. And that's the same with life. Life is the same thing. It's not about the outcome. It's about whether you did everything properly in order to get the results you aim for. Because if you suck out or if you get lucky or whatever, that is a losing play style of playing the game live. If you play the game live, the best thing is you always do what you try to do to be ahead. And sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but overall you will win more than you lose. And that's a mentality. If you adopt it in life, you will never play the lottery because you always lose 40% of your money by just buying the ticket.
Subscribe to youtube.com/AtheneWins. Watch the live stream at twitch.tv/AtheneLive and follow The Real Athene on Snapchat.